Battery Bill. Battery Bill. For cameras, computers, cars, or scooters. For trucks, boats, jet skis, remotes. Battery Bill. Battery Bill.
Back to the St. Louis Alumni Clubhouse. We're here with our featured guest today, head coach Ron Lee of the St. Louis Crusaders. A big week leading up to a very big opponent. But first, let's start off with some of the really intense questions. Coach, who's the best assistant coach you have on your staff right now?
I gotta say right now it's Cal. He's still the boss, but he has to adjust a little bit to his new role.
Okay, who's the second best assistant coach you have on your staff?
You know, our staff is the same bunch that started in 2014, and a lot of St. Louis alums, West Tufanga, Rob, Aaron, I mean, just goes on and on with Tupu Alualu and, you know, Howard Peralta was back in my time, and Sean Kalima. I mean, they've been there forever, and they just they are a loyal bunch of guys, and they love the players, they love the kids, love St. Louis, and that's what's the most important thing, getting guys that are there for the right reasons.
Speaking of some alumni, we chatted a little bit in the first segment about some great alumni. Marcus Mariota, of course, Tua Tagovailoa, getting us be starting in the NFL, and then Timmy Chang and Jacob Yoro, who had their first game as University of Hawaii coaches, Timmy as the head coach. Recollect with us a little bit about when those guys were here.
Oh, they were outstanding. I mean, it goes back to the first go-round when we had Darnell Arsenault, Jason Gesser, and Timmy, and you know, it just goes on and on as far as quarterbacks go. But you know what they learn, and that's kind of the big thing. You know, we're running into a problem now where we're losing a lot of players. A lot of it comes from parents, really, that weren't St. Louis graduates. We're not getting from the guys that have graduated from St. Louis, and they understand the brotherhood and what they get, not just out of football, but what they get out of academics and what they learn from the faculty and what St. Louis gives these guys. Because we lost a whole bunch, you know, since the COVID, and then the last couple of years, we lost a lot of good players. It's because they don't really understand. It's not just about football. It's, you know, what you learn, the life lessons, the hard work, the discipline, development of character that we push there. And it's a tribute, and when you talk about the Mariotas and the Tuas and Herbigs and all of these guys that do well, it's because of what they learn at St. Louis. Not football, but the overall. They don't realize what they give up when they leave St. Louis, and they go to some of these public schools that, you know, it's not the same. They miss a lot, and that's kind of a concern that bothers me, that we really need to educate the parents about, it's not football. We don't want guys who come to St. Louis just because of football. So what they're going to get with the overall package, like Aaron knows.
Yeah, and Aaron and I were just talking about that it has come to on college sports where with the transfer portal, players can just transfer, go, switch, little bit of anxiety or some adversity, they'll choose to switch. They have that opportunity to do that, which is great in one respect. But now it's coming down onto the high school level. It is becoming more mobile. Before, you would never hear of a student that plays at two schools in their 4 years of high school. But not just St. Louis. There are other schools that also are having that, where a parent will say, you know what, let's go someplace else where there's a better, quote-unquote, opportunity or so forth. And it seems to be, unfortunately, getting more and more, maybe, as we go on into the next few years.
Exactly. It's almost like the high schools now, like the portal, where we had 5 or 6 kids that got scholarships from St. Louis, and they just transferred. They transferred, they were able to get themselves a college scholarship. And then they want to play with just move. And they don't understand. And parents are not guiding their kids to, hey, finish what you started. And also, graduating from St. Louis is a lot better than graduating from not some of these kids. They don't know who the players are. They're not part of the Brotherhood. So that's become a real problem.
I look at the transfer of players that left. I mean, what do you feel? Is it fair to say that the kid can leave a private school and immediately play at a public school, but if they want to come from public to private, they have to wait a year?
Yeah.
What do you agree with that rule?
No, that's been a rule that was put in place years ago when the public schools didn't want to be with the ILH, and because of that very reason. So it's an old rule, but it's makes it really tough because we lose a lot of kids that I know does not live in those areas. They can go anywhere and play, whereas you can't come from a public school and play right away at a private school. They have to sit out a year, and that's tough. So we get none of that. And again, I think we need to educate our alumni, the community, that it's not don't come to, when we have kids that come in and we know a lot of the alums that come by and want to get their sons or nephews into St. Louis, we tell them right out front, why do you want to come to St. Louis? Oh, I want to play football. That's not why you come to St. Louis. I mean, we're going to work you hard academically. The demands that we put on you, it's not going to be easy. It's tough. And that's what we try to develop. We try to develop these guys to be good young men that will be ready to go to the next level, or as well as go out and get a job. Those are the things that are important. Not if we win, we win. If not, it's how we practice our develop character, discipline, playing for each other. All of those things are key, and that's what we try to do.
Now, as we move into the football season, well, first off, we finally got the field back, so we got to thank, all the people who had a hand in that, because, for a while, how big of a task or a challenge do you feel as a head coach where you are traveling every day to a school to try and get a practice done? Especially sometimes we go to fields where we're sharing the field with a school.
Yes, it was really, not just the no field. I don't know what was worse, COVID or no field. We had to go all over the state looking for a place to practice. And not just the varsity, but the JVs and the intermediate. It was really, really tough. What our young guys, and this is all part of it, we turned it into a plus. Let the guys understand that these are the things you got to overcome. We're at Capilano Park, Crane Park, up in Palolo. We're all over the island, and with no lines and just out on the field. But that's all part of it. We're done with that. We have a beautiful field thanks to Kevin, and we practice. It's so nice to have lines and markings, and that helps us. But like I said, the players we've got through that. We had COVID, where so it's been tough. But that's all part of it. Right now, our practices have been outstanding. We're working really hard. The kids, and that's one of the things that is tough to makes us, I think, a lot better. It's because we practice so hard against each other, physically, and the guys are learning that they go 100%, but they're also looking out for each other, not hurting each other. Sometimes you can get some knuckleheads that make mistakes and undisciplined, and that's all part of the program, that you play hard, but you also play smart. So these are the kind of things that we're working on this year. We got a lot of young guys. This was a year that we lost every starter on offense. We're completely new. 4 of our starters transferred out, but we move on. The next guy's up, and we're struggling through it. But I'm excited to play Bishop Gorman, and I think I watched them play. I tell you, they are one of the best high school teams I've seen. They played Mater Dei that looked like Vanderbilt, size-wise, huge, tremendous. They recruit nationally, and so does Gorman. So those two teams are the toughest teams in the country. And really, the alumni, we're going to have to depend a lot on the alums now because it's so hard with the tuition, the no stadium. Mililani, we played Mililani for the last 5-6 years, and it used to be 50-50. All of a sudden, they gave us that zero, no money. So we played a preseason game where we try to raise some money to help us with some of the expenses that we have. And then they gave us zero. So now, then we're using their field to play Bishop Gorman, and they want 25%. And we have to give Gorman 15, another 25%. So it bites into where we can raise money. So, without a stadium, it's really, really tough. But we're trying to sell tickets to this Bishop Gorman game. We gave Kevin a whole bunch of tickets and David Diamond. So give him a call. See. But that's what we're going to need. We're going to need the alums to really help us now. And, it's the tuition and all the other things, books and uniforms. It's really tough to get by. So we need our alums to get behind. And they're always welcome to come up and watch practice, get behind the team. And also I think it's going to be an exciting year. Our goal right now is to win the ILH. That's our number one goal. And then we'll see what happens. But really, every day we practice hard, especially when we go against each other. Makes us better. And also, it's game-like. So I like what we've been doing the last couple of weeks.
And Aaron mentions the whole field for practices. You guys got that back. You touched on the fact that Aloha Stadium has affected the ILH. We talk about how it affects University of Hawaii. It has hugely affected the ILH because that was, like you said, your home stadium for all of your teams. And so now everybody has to find, well, of course, Iolani has a field, Kamehameha does, but even then, road games and so forth, you're playing in different places you never did. It's a logistical challenge for the ILH, no doubt. Let's take a timeout, Coach, and when we come back, we'll take a look at Bishop Gorman coming up. So we'll take a first break here with Coach Ron Lee, come right back and talk about Bishop Gorman. This is the Brotherhood on ESPN Honolulu. And welcome back. We're here with head coach Ron Lee of the St. Louis Crusaders, and we're going to take a look a little bit at the upcoming opponent. And Aaron and I were chatting about this rivalry. Of course, you guys have played several times. Bishop Gorman coming in again. It seems like, well, they're still one of the powerhouses. We talked about High School Football America ranks them as number 13, and Max Preps has them at number 8 in the country. And they're just coming off a loss of the number 1 ranked team on Mater Dei. But before we look at Bishop Gorman, as far as your team, Coach, after 2 games, what is your takeaway of how your team has progressed to this point now?
I think mainly because of no field and the start that we had. We kind of got a slow start here. But I think in the last month or so since we've had the field, we've come a long way. But this week we'll really know. We played Mililani, we struggled. We had 11 sacks. We couldn't even get the snap back. It was a horror show. But we've come a long way. We got a lot of things corrected. We did a nice job on Kopaa. But I think this game here is going to show us exactly where we are. I've watched a lot of high school football teams. This Bishop Gorman team could have easily won. They were up 21-7 to the number 1 team in the nation. And they're like a college team at Mater Dei. But I've never seen a team so complete. They got tremendous speed. Really, one of the receivers ran a 10-300 meters, fastest in the nation for high school. And they have one of our top receivers in Tretch Kekahuna, and he's one of the players, and they're just fast. They out of 22 starters, 20 of them are going to Division I school. And I'm not talking, they are going to the big Power Five, the corners of LSU and Alabama, and the receivers USC. Just all of that are like that. So they're an outstanding team. This is going to give us a good shot to see what we need to work on. And we're looking forward to this game, So I like the fact that we need a game. We need to play teams like this, because really in 2023 we are trying to schedule teams, the top teams in the country. We really have a tough time getting games. They don't want to play us, and it's the same with Bishop Gorman and Mater Dei and De La Salle that we're really working on now. And Tony Raiola's grandson is at Chandler High School, and he's going to Ohio State. We want to schedule games like that to bring the recognition, not just locally, but nationally. We're talking with ESPN right now to see if we can get games on ESPN and work with those guys. But again, play the top schools to give Hawaii the kind of recognition they need, not just for St. Louis, but everybody. And we need support with our alums to help us get this.
How is your, and you mentioned you have all brand new starters in offense, right? First, all 11. You lost all 11 starters from last year, brand new group. In your entire coaching career, did you ever encounter that much of a transition before?
No, this is really by far the first. Normally we get 3, maybe 4 returnees. Like this year we had 4, but they left. I don't understand. But so we're starting all over again. But I tell you what, the guys step up. I mean, we've won a lot of championships, and you don't do that unless guys that step up. Guys graduate and leave, but and that's what we have now. We have we lost 10 seniors on our O-line, the top 10 guys. So we're really down to 9th and 10th graders on the O-line.
Wow.
But they've improved a whole lot, and we just keep getting better. So they have to step up. That's all it is. Now we'll see how we hold up against a team like Bishop Gorman. Right now, the ILH, Punahou, and Kamehameha are really, formidable foes. So you have to, we'll see. We'll see Friday.
As far as the first game of the season was Mililani, second was Kapa'a. What was the biggest thing that you seen, the difference maker from the first game to the second game?
We got our snaps back. It was scraping along the grass, and we improved a lot on our execution. We don't look at who we play, just like Gorman. We're looking at how we practice and how we're going to perform in the game. A lot of kids are nervous. This is a big game. That's what they have to fight through, and that's what they're going to face these problems when they go out in life, jobs. There's challenges every day. It's how you handle these challenges, and that's a big thing that we face with this season. It's not that we got to win. It's just you pick yourself up and you work with your buddies, and games like this, it comes down to 3 or 4 plays, and you don't know when that play comes, and they have to do that in practice and take that right into the game. So I'm anxious to see it. I can't sleep at night, but at least I'm anxious to see the game.
Some key players that you that we should mention that offensively, you said 11 brand new starters and stuff. Some key players that you feel are going to need to step up against Bishop Gorman to help us get a W.
Yeah, our skilled players, there's a whole bunch of them, 7 or 8, running backs, Ola and Kai Graham. He has to step up. I mean, at St. Louis, the quarterback's a big part of it. So we're going to see how he steps up. Now, like I said, tremendous speed, and they play bump and run where they rate up on the receiver. So the receivers, QBs, and they pressure. So it's got to be a complete type of thing with our offensive, our young guys. We got some young guys on the O-line, but they're big young guys. We got size, and they've come a long way. I think Rob and his bunch of coaches, Manu, and they've done a great job with Gerald Welch, another St. Louis All-American, and Fonseca, Aaron, and Tupu. We got really good coaches that work hard and are very loyal to the players and want to see them do well. But this is going to be a great test, and then we move on to the next game. But we're going to have a good idea exactly where we're at playing a team like Gorman.
We're talking with Ron Lee, the head coach for the St. Louis Crusaders. You know, one of the things we always hear about when you have a younger team or not as experienced, you're getting their first time starting, so forth and so on. There's one thing to prep, right? You can practice, you can have good practices, you can be prepared physically and mentally. And sometimes they may not prepare as well as you'd like, but you get them as ready as best as you can. And then the game happens, and obviously whatever you prepared for doesn't always work out that way. And the experienced players, maybe they can pivot, they can take the coaching and instruction to adjust to we got to change this part of the game plan because that's not working. They can adjust. Has your group been able to do those kind of in-game adjustments, or is that something you're seeing maybe progressively getting better from game 1 to game 2?
Yeah, definitely we need to adjust during the game. But it comes in practice. Now, offensively, we're young. But defensively, we're young too. But I tell you what, we got some guys on defense. We have at least 4 or 5 guys that also have Division I offers. So we're not, we're depending on our defense. But what we really like is that when we go what we call 11 on 11s, our defense make us work hard. They're making us better. And that's what's important. Not only they're under control, they're trying to make the O-line and receivers better. And that's what's going to help the team. And that's an important lesson, is not just come and knock those guys around, but work them hard, encourage them, do it together. And that's what I see and I really like. The discipline, they're working to help each other, and our defense is going to have to slow those guys down because they fly, they're fast, and they got a whole bunch of Hawaii guys on their team. On the O-line, they got 2 or 3 kids from Hawaii. Their quarterback was from St. Louis. Trechke Kahuna is from St. Louis, and even on defense, they got a lot of kids from Hawaii. But like I said, Bishop Gorman, they recruit nationally, and they got the top athletes. They're just like Mater Dei. So, it'll be fun to see where we stand with these guys. Especially I'm anxious too to see the defense play against these caliber of football.
That's under Coach Cal's wing, right? The defense.
That's Cal's.
That's a lot of pressure, right?
That's
on
Cal's.
okay.
A lot of pressure on Cal.
Yeah, he can handle it. Yeah.
Before we wrap up the interview with you, Coach, I got 2 questions. Because in the office, whenever before practice, after practice, Coach Cal loves to listen to the hitman David Foster. So we're gonna ask you, what music do you listen to before a game to kind of calm your nerves down, get your mind right before a game like this, especially against Gorman?
I like to listen to your guy. He's my favorite, but more on the mellow, quiet side. Yeah, Cal likes that because that's kind of way the defense. That's defensive mentality. Be wild and aggressive. And really part of our problem on offense is making sure that they don't knock our guys out. And that's what I like, how they've adjusted. They practice hard, and they get after each other, but it's discipline and control. So
that was a plug for Josh Tautofi.
Oh, no, I guess it was.
Brother Josh.
Awesome.
Last question. Before a big game like this, is it a soup and sandwich kind of thing, or is it a plate lunch to scoop mac salad?
For what was this?
Pre-game meal. What do you eat?
Pre-game,
meal?
we
No, for you. What do you like to eat? A soup and sandwich?
Soup-
A little light, or you go to plate lunch with extra scoop mac salad and gravy?
soup and salad. Soup and salad.
You don't want to be too full before a game. You
Yeah.
take a nap at halftime. And it's like, can't happen. Hey, Coach, thank you so much for coming on, and we are totally rooting for you. Good luck for this game against
Thank
Bishop
you. My
Gorman.
pleasure. Thank you, guys.
By the way, we'll have this game on our sister station, CBS 1500, Friday, 7 p.m., St. Louis versus the number 6 ranked team, Bishop Gorman, on CBS 1500. Thanks, Coach, for coming.
you.
Appreciate
Thank
it. We'll take our final timeout. We come back and wrap things up. This is ESPN Honolulu.